Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates, and we'll start out today by talking men's basketball with Warrior head coach Todd Eisner. And Coach Eisner, two games where you fell behind early. One was a win and one was a loss. Got to start with Friday first, and I hope you don't mind me asking this question, but I want to ask you what you said to your team during the timeouts, because you fell behind 17-0 against Sioux Falls. Eventually, it was 26-5. You call another timeout, and from there, you start chipping away at the lead, and eventually you get the win. But what did you say to your team during those timeouts?
Well, I think it's you coach long enough, Justin, and you can see a little bit of everything in this game. And I do not recall it's got to be pushing 800 games that I've coached at the college level. And I'm not sure that's, 17-0 and down 21 early to come back and wins ever happened in my career. But, I give myself a little credit. I don't brag about myself too much, but, I think this new breathing through my eyelids yoga that I'm doing has changed my approach to how I handle those situations. And, it was a big weekend for us. We needed to play well. We needed to win games. And so to erupt and explode and put them in a more defensive mentality moving forward wasn't going to change anything. And so I tried to do as best I could, stay calm and just try to figure out a way to keep them positive and think they had a chance to come back. And thankfully, really pleased with our locker room that the guys stayed, with our game plan as best we could and chipped away at it and got it back into a reasonable number before the half.
Well, I know one of the things that you did too was you went to your bench and you looked for solutions there. And Connor Dillon was the one that really stepped up and had a great game. We were impressed on Media Row with the fact that he never cooled off during the game. You put him in the game, he scored some points, he goes back to the bench, he comes back out on the floor, and he picks up right where he left off. Talk about how much Connor Dillon was a spark to your team this weekend.
Yeah, it was great to see. We've been waiting for it. I know he's been very frustrated this year. He's still not 100%, and I think he's getting, starting to feel more comfortable and getting a little bit more of his explosiveness back. And everything he does is based on his legs, his lift on his shot, his ability to get to the rim and finish plays. That's what he relies on. And so we saw a little bit more of what we were hoping to see, going into the year. And then that ankle has just really put him back. So really important what he did. Obviously, he got us going, really scored it from the arc, got to the rim a couple of times. And so it was very beneficial to us. It was much needed and it was great to see. So big weekend for him. He played pretty well early in that little rally on Saturday too. So, hopefully that could carry through here this week and leading into the postseason.
And then another thing that was key against Sioux Falls was your work from the free throw line, 13 of 15. A lot of that coming from Alec Rosner, who was 10 of 10 from the free throw line during the game. Talk about your team's performance from the free throw line.
I thought they did a really nice job on Al and made his shot opportunities difficult. And I thought he got a couple of really good ones in the second half, and they just didn't go in. But that's part of Al's growth is, when shots aren't going in, everybody wants to make threes, and everybody wants the game to be as easy and as simple as possible. And on the days that isn't happening, then you got to find other ways to contribute and other ways to score. I mean, we need Al to score. So if he's not making threes, then he's got to have the ability to put the ball on the floor, get fouled, go to the free throw line. And he did a really nice job of that in the second half, going 10 for 10 for the game.
And then obviously the other thing we have to ask about that game was the last play of the game. It ended up being Devin Whitelow driving to the basket and making the layup just as time expired. They had to take a look at it at the end to make sure that it went through, that there wasn't any time on the clock after the ball went through the hoop, and that's what they saw. What was the play that you guys had drawn up? Was that it, or was that improvisation by Devin?
No, it was, Coach Melwick did a great job of putting us in a position to hopefully get downhill off of a switch. We wanted to switch. Thought Dev could maybe take advantage. I mean, Slater's a really good defensive player, but we were hoping from a quickness standpoint that, that Dev would be able to get some separation and get to the rim. And you're still talking 5'9" versus 6'9". So, some of the breakdown stuff that Zach does with our perimeter players on a consistent basis, and Dev and Al in particular are in there probably more than anybody working with him. That was 5 years of working on exactly what Dev did to give himself a position to score. So, I don't think we planned on throwing it to Connor Drew and back to Dev. I think the ball was supposed to stay in Dev's hands the entire time. But we got him a little confused, Jack Thompson and Slater on the switch. They did switch Slater onto him, and Dev did a nice job of getting to his inside hand and finishing the play. So it was a big play for us. Obviously, looking into the crystal ball as to what happened to us Saturday, that ended up being huge for us to at least get the split on the weekend.
Well, before we get to Saturday's game, as long as we're talking about Devin White, though, he was honored before Saturday's game as being the lone senior on your squad. He's been with you this whole time. Talk about what he's meant to this team. Obviously, we've talked all season about changing roles and just the way that he has played, but just an amazing player in a Warrior uniform.
Yeah, an amazing person. He's since the second he walked on campus, I tweeted this Saturday morning. Every fiber of his being has been about us. He's an excellent student. He got his degree in 4 years in criminal justice. He was a 3.57 GPA. He started his master's program now. He's a tremendous worker. He's always in the gym working on his game. I'm so happy for him this year that his foot problems have held off. He's been kind of hampered by those the last couple of years and fought through them and still played, never really missed any time. But you've never had that. He's had another half step of quickness this year, I think, that's really made him a more effective scorer. But Deb doesn't care about any of that stuff. He just wants to win. And so my only, kind of big picture regret would be is that we haven't been in a position to, play in the postseason as long as we'd want to and know that he wants to. And we got one chance to do something about that yet here in a couple of weeks. But just the epitome of a high-end character individual. His mom and dad did an awesome job of raising that young man. And we've been the benefactors of having him be a part of our program. So just very thankful that he's been a part of Winona State basketball.
Yeah, it was great to see that recognition on Saturday. All right, we do have to get to Saturday's game. Again, it was one that you had to come from behind. Again, you call timeout down by a lot. You did come back in the game, and I think you had a lead a couple of times during the game, but then ended up dropping to Southwest Minnesota State. But just tell me, what were your reactions to that game?
Yeah, really disappointed. I just, we're trending in the wrong way, Justin, defensively, and it's a bad time of the year to do it. In our last 6 games, we haven't held anybody under 45% shooting. And that was Sioux Falls, actually. It was where we were lucky to win that game. But, anytime you let somebody come in the second half and shoot 17 of 21 from the floor, you're going to get beat. And we got bullied. I didn't like that. I didn't like our lack of physicality. I didn't like our lack of response. Sioux Falls has got some talented people. They've had a good year. We handled it, the way they play, and they didn't really change the way they play. We handled the way they play. We met them in December, and we just didn't respond. And I'll be honest with you, our starters were the ones that really struggled on the defensive end of the floor. We got a great boost from our bench again. I subbed out 4 guys when we were down 12-0, and they got us right back in the game and gave us great energy. And looking back at it, maybe should have gone back to them at a longer stint in the second half because we had no answers for them on the defensive end of the floor. So it makes it really hard. Every possession then has to be perfect when you're on offense. And I'm not sure we had enough offensive possessions to even catch them when you let a team shoot 82% in the second half. So it's a big game for us, and we can do the things we needed to do to have a chance to win.
All right, so we got to look ahead here because you have an early game this week. You have a game on Thursday against Concordia St. Paul, and then you finish out on the road against Minnesota State. You're currently in 4th place. You're currently in a spot to host a playoff game on February 23rd. So what are some of the things that you work on this week to get ready for Concordia St. Paul? You can't look past them. We say all the time, don't look at the record, but we have to say they're 3-23, 2-17 in the conference. But what do you do this week to get ready for Concordia and then Minnesota State later on in the week?
Yeah, we need to be ready to play. Concordia St. Paul's actually playing, in terms of competitive basketball, they're playing really well. They beat Southwest Minnesota State at Southwest Minnesota State last Saturday. lost at Sioux Falls by 2 points and had a shot to tie it, go in and out with about 4 seconds to go. They led Wayne State Saturday at the half. They were down 8 with about 10 minutes to go against Augie on Friday. For us to have anything other than laser focus on making sure we do what we're supposed to do on both ends of the floor Thursday will be costly. The coach there played at Southwest Minnesota. The system is the same. So we obviously struggled against what Southwest Minnesota did to us on Saturday. So we need to fix some things. And defensively, they're playing really hard. They're not the most efficient defensive team in terms of statistics, but they're competing. They're playing hard. And then offensively, they bothered us the first time we played up there, and we were fortunate to win. And we're not playing at the same level right now. And so we've got to snap out of it a little bit. I'm concerned we're a little worn down physically. We're going to actually, I think, take a good portion of today off and have it be more of a mental day. And hope Tuesday and Wednesday we can kind of reboot a little bit and get ready for a big one on Thursday.
So then do you just go all in on Concordia St. Paul until that game is over and then worry about Minnesota State after that's finished?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Typically our week, Justin, is Monday through Thursday, obviously, to get ready for Friday, Saturday. And what we've done just because of our class schedule, we practice in the morning on Tuesdays. And so Tuesdays has been our Saturday preparation. And then if we need to do a couple of things Wednesday and Thursday, a segment here or there for Saturday, we will. But there's been some times where the only prep we'll have for a Saturday game is Tuesday. With it being a different type of week with the pod format of scheduling this year, we will spend just Friday on Mankato. Mankato is actually playing a little differently than they were the first time we played. And so we'll spend Friday on that. And if we get to Wednesday and feel like we need to do a segment of practice that relates to Mankato, we may. But right now the plan would be to just focus on St. Paul Tuesday, Wednesday, play Thursday, focus on Mankato Friday, play Saturday.
All right. And since you brought it up, and we always talk about injuries anyway, you said the team feeling maybe a little bit worn down. Is it just kind of exhaustion, any kind of nagging injuries as we head into the last
year? Yeah, I don't think so. I think, nothing's really changed in terms of injuries. I think, as the most part, there's nothing new. But at the end of the day, I do think, it's the dog days of the season. They're the most important games, and you should figure out a way to, find something else inside of you, even if you are a little worn down. But as I mentioned to Coach Melvick this morning, Augustana is the best team in the league, and their 5 starters are all playing over 30 minutes a game. So it's possible. We got to ask a little bit more of ourselves. And like I said, maybe we'll look to give them a little more rest today and hopes that we can get a good prep on Tuesday, Wednesday to get ready for Thursday.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time and the insight, and we look forward to covering the game on Thursday.
All right, Justin, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Fast Break. And when we come back, we'll talk Warrior women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard right after this. And welcome back to Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. It's time now to talk women's basketball with head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach Ballard, a couple of really exciting games this past weekend, one a win and one a loss. Let's start with the Friday game against Sioux Falls. Your thoughts first off on that game?
Well, I agree with your opening statement that they were both exciting games because they were close games. I thought both of them were defensive games. Both teams really did a good job of taking away the other team's best offensive players for the most part and tried to do things to disrupt continuity offensively. Friday's game against Sioux Falls, the one that we lost at the buzzer, was a gut punch because we battled back to take the lead late in the game, and then with the last possession with a 1-point lead, we at the wrong time for the first 11 seconds of the 13 that they had to work with, we did a really good job of switching and talking. And then we had just one poor communication breakdown that turned a player loose for practically a layup. But it's a crazy game. The two kids that were involved in that miscommunication, both were freshmen. And the very next night, we find ourselves in a similar situation, except we had a 3-point lead instead of a 1-point lead. So it's easier to defend and take away a 3-point shot than it is to just take away a 2-point shot. There's not near as many options available. But I was pleased to see the same kids involved in the late game situation on Saturday make adjustments from their mistake on Friday. And we really did a good job of defending that last possession and not giving them a good luck. But, going into the weekend, we felt like we had to win one of those games. And after losing the heartbreaker at the buzzer on Friday, I was proud of our group to bounce back and come with a lot of intensity and focus and find a way to win on Saturday.
Yeah, and the Saturday game was amazing because you didn't have a free throw opportunity until maybe a minute and a half left to go in the fourth quarter, which, obviously that's been one of the storylines all season long, is that you're a good free throw shooting team, but you just don't get the chances to go to the free throw line. And then unfortunately, you miss some of the free throws, but you do get a couple key ones towards the end, which puts you to the 3-point lead. Talk about, not having any free throw opportunities at all during that game.
Well, I can't explain why we don't get to the free throw line more than we do, but at the same time, our opponents are not getting to the free throw line much more than we are. So it's kind of a push. But you see other games going on within the league every night, and people shooting 25 or 35 free throws is just like, I can't relate to that, because we've only probably had 2 games the entire year where we shot more than 15 free throws in a game. And that's out of 24 games. But, it was uncharacteristic for us to not only miss some free throws in that last minute and a half, which would have iced the game and took some of the drama out of it, but it was the people you want at the free throw line that were there. But sometimes it gets contagious. Whoever gets there first, if they knock them both down, then it usually just kind of flows and carries over to everyone else. But if you clank them and don't convert, then sometimes it goes the other way. So we proved that we were human. I think we were shooting 77% as a team from the line for the year before that, and we went 2 for 8. But we did just enough, and had to rely on a defensive stop and a rebound to finish that game, and we were able to do it.
I want to go back to the Sioux Falls game and talk about Emma Fee's performance, because she ended up with 24 points, and she had a fadeaway jumper that really was working against Sioux Falls. Tell us a little bit about what you saw from Emma Fee in that game.
Well, that's Emma's favorite shot. And, against Sioux Falls, there is no shot blocker. So that they tried to neutralize post play by ganging up on you and digging and double team and whatever, but it's hard to double team someone that just can catch, turn, and shoot. Double teams work against somebody that wants to put it on the floor. Well, Emma doesn't need to do that. And so we took advantage of that. And, Tay had an off night offensively, and Emma was able to carry the load there. But, and then the next night you're going against a 6'4" shot blocker. So we had to, pay attention and be aware of where the shot blocker was at all times. And, Emma had some good looks from 15 feet, but I think she was only able to hit one of them. But, we try to use her versatility against teams that either have a shot blocker and then we pull her away from the basket, or they're trying to, dig and double, and then she still can operate down low because she just catch, turn, and shoot. So, we've grown accustomed to seeing that many times over the last 5 years, and we'll miss it once it's gone. That's for sure. But I was really impressed and happy with the performance that Alex Dornfeld had on Saturday. Emma was struggling, to hit her outside shot and to go against the shot blocker, and Emma got a cut. Her first 2 fouls were silly and undisciplined. Her third foul was legit, but she got a little bit of foul trouble, and we went to Alex early, and Alex had some success and hit down 2 big threes. Probably, to me, I felt like the play of the game was when we had the ball out of bounds underneath our basket with 1 second on the shot clock, and there was a delay. I think they were reviewing the time, and we had a chance to, try to set up a play. With 1 second, you don't have time for anything but a catch and shoot. So it's either got to be a lob or, something usually underneath the basket. But Alex, she popped out top of the key, and we got it to her, and she just caught and shot and hit it, before the clock expired. So that was a big 3 points when you look back, and that was the margin of victory right there.
Yeah, she ended up with 14 points in the game against Southwest Minnesota State. I want to give you a chance. You just talked a little bit about Emma Fee, but I want to give you a chance to talk about Emily Keek and Taylor Hustad, because it was senior night on Saturday, and so they were honored for what they've done for the Warrior program. Just give us a couple thoughts about those. Well, you can talk about Emma Fee a little bit if you want to, but Emily Keek and Taylor Hustad and what they've meant to this program. Well,
they all three, have been here for 5 years, counting the COVID year last year, and they didn't have to. I mean, Emily graduated last year in the spring. I think Emma probably could have and just added more minors to her academic plan to get another year in. Tay is an education major and still needs a semester to do her student teaching. But, when you talk about those three, first thing that comes to mind to me is back when we recruited them, their campus visit, the conversations we had leading up to their commitment here. And, the people the underclassmen we have right now on our team, they don't understand and relate to where Tay and Emma started. They didn't play much until halfway through their sophomore year. But, our underclassmen, they see them now as being significant players and go-to players and leaders and all that, but they didn't see the beginning stages of those people's careers. And, Emily Keek, she played a lot. She was a significant player her freshman year. And so it's a blessing to have an opportunity to coach those three for as long as we have. And I think they've won 66 games in their 4 years. And, they've been a good role model and example for the underclassmen with regards to how to work hard, how to be committed, how to compete, how to put in extra time outside of practice time, how to treat others. How they've been good recruiters, they've been good students. They epitomize the culture of our program and the kind of high character people that we want on a yearly basis. So, I'll miss them. It's like I said at senior night, this is always bittersweet for me because I'm excited to honor them for everything they've done for our program, all their time and effort and commitment. But same time, it means that you're nearing the end. And so, you have a mixed bag of emotions there that you go through when you start reminiscing and thinking about all the ups and downs that you've been through together over that long a period of time. And now it's almost over. The finality of it is very humbling, but the memories are very awesome.
All right, very good. Let's take a look then at the games that are coming up this week, because they are key games. I think you're sitting in 5th place right now, and depending on how things factor out, I think you might still have a chance at 4th place. I may be wrong at that, but I think you have a chance if you win. Unfortunately, you face the top 2 teams in the South, in Concordia and Minnesota State. So how do you plan for those 2 teams this weekend or this week?
Well, you just take it one game at a time. It's a little bit of a different schedule this week. It's what they call a hybrid week. We're playing Thursday at home against Concordia and then Saturday at Mankato. Like you mentioned, they're the top 2 teams in the South Division. We've had probably 3 stinker games this year, and the first one and the worst one was when we went to Concordia. So, we know that we can play much better than we did that night. But they're a really good team. Mankato, their style of play is very unorthodox. They turn everybody over. This past weekend, they beat Wayne and Augie, and those 2 teams averaged 26 turnovers a game. And that's such a big part of what Mankato does offensively, is turning their defense into offense. So, taking care of the basketball is really a big part of keeping things under control there. Concordia, just a well-balanced team. They got, a shot blocker inside, and, she can score in a variety of ways. They have good size at the 3 and the 4 spot. All 5 starters are averaging, right at double figures, between 10 and 15 points. They shoot the 3 well. They don't turn the ball over much. Defensively, they've caused us some issues over the last couple of years. It's a tough matchup. Both games are a tough matchup for us in different ways. But, we could finish anywhere from 4th to 6th, it looks like. And, the teams, the teams that we are in a logjam with, they're playing each other, but we're the only one of those 3 teams that's, playing the top 2 teams at this point in the schedule. So it's going to be a big challenge both nights. We're looking forward to it. I think that we have a playoff spot locked up. We just don't know what our seed would be. And, if we finish 4th or 5th, we would have a chance to play at home. So we got a lot to play for, and that's exciting going into the last week of the schedule.
All right. Well, thank you for the insight this week. We're looking forward to Thursday and hopefully next Wednesday as well, if you end up getting one of those higher seeds, and hopefully we get to see you in the playoffs too.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for watching Warrior Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next time.